Watch, he'll pop up as I'm introducing this show.
Oh no.
Uh,
Okay, we lost him now. He's restarting.
Good afternoon. This is Karen with NewClevelandRadio.net, and it is time for What in the World with.
Santa Claus.
Oh, no,
Gotcha.
no, but you look like Santa today.
Well, thank you. Thank you. No, it's Paul Seaburn, as always, in my Santa garb, along with my UFO alien Christmas
Whoa,
sweater. So
perfect.
I'm in the spirit for What in the World. I'm in the spirit for the holidays. You name it, I'm in your spirit. And in fact, we're going to be talking about Christmas and aliens and all kind of weird good stuff here on What in the World today. So thanks for joining in. If you're joining in on YouTube live or in the future, welcome. If you're tuning in to us, if you downloaded us on your favorite platform or on newclevelandradio.net, thank you again. Thanks for visiting. If you haven't, go visit newclevelandradio.net. Check out all the podcasts that Karen has put together. She just told me offline about some huge news that one of her podcasts is going to have this week. So,
Keep
tune in for
watching.
that. Yeah, but it's big. It sounds really big. Um, as you can probably tell if you've tuned in before, we normally have John DiNallo with What in the World of Sports, and we normally don't have him at the beginning. This is becoming an attraction. Just seconds before we were ready to go on the air, John froze.
No,
So
his internet froze. He
his
didn't.
internet froze. Yes. Okay. That's what, to get technical. So yeah, we're hoping, as always, he'll come back, and because he's got some really weird sports for us, and as always, we always have fun with him, especially with trivia and all the other good things. So Karen, as I said, end of the year, the weirdest year I've ever lived through. I'm sure you would say the same thing, and yet it continues to get stranger.
How
I'm
strange.
in my business, I sometimes wish that it didn't end because there's just so many weird things have happened. Now let me look at my list here. We've got we're going to talk about this guy who wants us to eat feathers in Thailand. We'll go to China. We're going to talk about spam and Oreo sandwiches from
I
McDonald's.
saw that. Oh,
Yeah.
that
Oh, wait. Oh,
was
it gets worse. Crocodile people in Brazil. We're going to talk about that. The lemon sniffing diet from England. But if you're looking for a good diet for after the holidays, this might be yours. Angels on Mars. And a Christmas story from the planet Venus. I want to make sure we get that in because wait, everything you know about Christmas is wrong. What else here? More stuff, some weird world records. Hopefully, we'll have John back with some strange sports. We'll play Bluff the Co-host, everybody's favorite game, and just plenty of other real news, as always, sometimes strange, always funny. That's why you come here to What in the World. An
Yep.
hour of laughter, dumb stuff, fun stuff, no politics, no bad news, no, just stick around and have a good time. If you don't like one story, wait a minute, I got another one. And in fact, let's get started with those right now. So, if you recall, we have done a number of stories about these monoliths, these shiny 12-foot tall triangular things that show up anywhere in California, in
Period.
Utah, in Romania, all over the place. Though they can't figure out that some people think they know where they came from, some don't. While they're trying to figure it out, they disappear. Okay. Well, I, and that means you here at What in the World, have the inside track for one of these monoliths.
Wow.
I have evidence showing where it came from and how it disappeared. So you are the first to see this, Karen, and everyone tuning in will be the second through in.
And my jaw is dropping.
Is that what happened? I'm sorry, I didn't want to say anything, Karen. But so get ready for this, our first visual aid of the day. This is how the monoliths are appearing and disappearing. So check this out.
Is it Bigfoot?
It certainly is Bigfoot.
Oh my gosh, he
Who would have
exists,
thought?
and he's really not blurry.
No, he's not. That's how you know this is a real picture, Karen.
Yeah.
Because he's not blurry.
Wow.
He's not blurry. The monolith isn't blurry. Everything looks good. That's it. That explains everything. So, end of the show. We'll see you next week.
Wow.
Isn't that something? Yeah. So that's a normal sized Bigfoot, by the way. So that's another way to tell that it's a real Bigfoot, because he looks like about 8 feet tall, hairy all over, strong, be able to pick up a monolith. But believe it or not, there was a story this week about a Bigfoot that's way bigger than that one. And this one comes from South Dakota. Let me get my paper here. From South Dakota, they announced that in Keystone County that they unveiled, they didn't just announce it, they unveiled the world's largest sitting chainsaw created Bigfoot sculpture. Okay, so that they got this big hunk of wood, and a chainsaw artist by the name of Janelle, is that his name? Oh, I thought I wrote his name down. I guess I didn't. Okay, so we'll make one up. Joe. So, so this well-known in Keystone chainsaw artist comes in, he carves this thing. It is 22.8 feet from the butt to the head. And if you're wondering why I would say from the butt to the head, here's a picture of
Oh my gosh.
the Bigfoot. Yeah, how about that?
That is like ridiculously big.
22, almost 23 feet high.
Wow.
And that's just, he's not standing either.
Yeah.
Who knows how big he would be if he was standing? But then they couldn't, reach way up there with the chainsaw. So that's apparently a world record for chainsaw carved Bigfoot sitting down. A very obscure category in the world records. However, they set a second record for the pile of wood chips, which was created, is now the world's largest hamster bed. So two different records, all in one giant Bigfoot. And believe it or not, since we're talking about standing Bigfoot, that is not the biggest Bigfoot sculpture in the world, which just was erected this year. And I can't believe I missed this. It's at a gas station under development. It's soon to be open gas station in Oklahoma. I just just got a message from John here saying he's trying to get on, so we'll keep watching for him. So in Oklahoma, there's a gas station under construction, but they've already finished the world's largest Bigfoot statue. And since it's with a gas station, he's not called Sasquatch. He's called Gas Squatch.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Gas Squatch. Look at that. He's not blurry either, Karen.
No, he's not. He's also a figure, not a real.
Well, he's a sculpture. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a statue.
Yeah.
Hello, statue. Boy, that's an old joke. So the Gas Squatch, he was 30 feet tall. 30 feet tall. So that's the world's largest standing Bigfoot statue.
Aren't they afraid that people won't want to stop there for gas because of the big monster,
Oh, no, they're stopping there for Slim Jims.
Oh,
Nobody stopped for gas.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
For Bigfoot jerky.
Yeah. Ooh, okay.
I don't know, 30 feet tall. They claim that it can be seen from a mile away. So that's a pretty good advertisement.
Yep.
Especially if you're in Oklahoma. I don't know what else there is to see in Oklahoma. I guess, what they say, the sooner you pass through Oklahoma, the better. They don't say that. I'm sorry. Anyone listening from Oklahoma, I apologize.
Never heard that before. No.
I apologize. In fact, everyone, Karen has mentioned this before because she is the keeper of all things statistical. we have listeners and viewers from all over the world,
Yes,
and I
we
want to
do.
thank people in New Zealand and Australia and Poland especially, and in the Far East, and also in Texas, where our good friend and longtime viewer Steeler Girl lives, who is obviously depressed this morning today because the Steelers lost the other day. So we send you our sympathy. We
We're
won't.
sorry,
Yeah,
not
we're sorry, but we hope that the Browns win, and finish ahead of the Steelers. Anyways, um, okay, so now we go to India. Speaking of going around the world to visit our viewers, college student in India at Banaras Hindu University broke another Guinness World Record by using cooking spices, okay, that were past their sell date to create a painting measuring 675 square feet. So that's like a little over 20 by 30 feet. That's a pretty big painting. That's like, if you stood it on end, it'd be 3 stories high. Um, the it was I don't have a picture of that because I wasn't that interested in it. It's a picture of a tree, but it's a painting made out of spices. So my first question, number one, I looked up what the record was that they broke. I couldn't find that, but I found the unofficial world record, which was set by the owner of a parking lot where a truck overturned while delivering cinnamon, and it spread all over the parking lot and into it's kind of the shape of a tree. It looked kind of.
yeah.
I know. Who now here's Karen, I know you have baked in your lifetime,
Yes.
and you have cooked in your lifetime.
Yes.
I bet that your kitchen cabinet has spices over 10 years old.
Nope.
No,
No.
I'm I have spices in my cabinet so old, the price is stamped on the top of the jar in blue ink, which
Real.
hasn't been used. I don't think, I think that 30 years ago they stopped doing that and switched to barcodes. So that's barcode. I that was a weird sound there.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. I didn't realize that spices have sell dates. I don't even know where to or use by date. I don't even know where to look for it. They all taste the same to me, so that may be a problem. That of course that's my problem, not somebody else. And the other thing is, this was a college student. What college student uses any spice besides salt, pepper, and hot sauce? That's basically the 3 spices all college students use for whatever it is they're cooking on their hot plate or in their microwave in their dorm room.
Yeah. Probably. You're right.
Yeah, I don't think anybody even uses hot plates anymore. But I'm really showing my age today. What's a hot plate? Yes, your grandfather.
Yeah.
Uh, so we go to Finland. We'll go from India to Finland. So the government of Finland spent $367,000. Okay, that's a lot of money to create a robotic human head that sneezes to test the efficiency of mask for the virus. What does that look like, you may ask?
Yeah.
Here's the head, a robotic head, sneezing. I wish it had some spray, sneezing into a little measuring device. With the guy behind there, boy, he's studying this pretty
Yeah. He
intently.
certainly is. Yeah.
It just proves once again that you can raise money for anything. Um,
We're not so lucky around here.
We certainly aren't. I don't know of anybody in the United States spending, COVID money on a robotic head to test masks. Well, I'm not sure we can even find masks to test.
That's true.
That. But we're not going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the robotic head. So what was I going to say about that? Oh, so once the pandemic is over, some they'll use the head for something else. But bands in Finland are already fighting over the name, the Sneezing Robotic Heads, as a great name for a band. So
Yeah, that is a good name.
it
Yeah.
is Sneezing Robotic Heads. I'd listen to them. Probably a heavy metal band.
Yeah, probably.
Okay, so now we move to from Finland to Thailand. So we go to the other side of the world again. Man in Thailand. I love this story. I put this story on Facebook. By the way, check my time here. By the way, if you want to know more about some of these stories, I post links and jokes about them on my Facebook page. Just look me up on Facebook. If you want more in depth, um, I cover many of them at mysteriousuniverse.org, where I am the editor and the primary writer. So a lot of the stories are there with links and videos and all that good stuff if you're into that. Okay, so this one comes from Thailand. Um, so John's still trying here. Uh, Man in Thailand wants to grind millions of tons of chicken feathers that are the byproduct of raising millions of tons of chickens annually by the poultry industry. He wants to grind them up and make them into a protein-filled source of food that we would then eat. So ground up, maybe flour or something like that, I guess, would be. My first thought was he wants us to eat feathers. Don't we look like enough like pillows already? We are just, we're just puffing out like your favorite.
That wouldn't tickle my fancy eating.
Oh, very good, Karen. It pays to come to rehearsal, doesn't it? So would you eat feathers?
No.
No, I wouldn't eat feathers either. But believe it or not, you already are. Yeah, here's a surprise. One of the things that they use feathers for is they do grind them up, but instead of feeding them to humans like this goofball does, they feed them to chickens. So if you eat a chicken, chickens are already eating in their feed ground up chicken feathers so that they get more protein in their diet. And maybe they don't like steaks or eggs. Eggs are cannibalistic. Eating chicken feathers doesn't sound so bad, does it?
Yeah, it does.
It does.
I don't think I want to eat chickens anymore.
So a little trivia question here. Outside of pillows, what else are chicken feathers used for? In chicken food.
I don't know.
Believe it or not, they're used for diapers. They're ground into pulp in replace of the woody stuff that they use to make diaper padding. They're used in insulation. They're used in upholstery padding, which I guess they still do that, not as much as they used to. They're used to make paper, and they're used to make plastic. I had no idea that the chicken feathers had so many uses, and yet there's still billions or millions of pounds that this goofball wants us to eat. So I don't think so. But let's move on to something else. Let's move on to plants. We have reached the eating portion of the show, which we always gravitate to somehow. So it turns out. So are you a morning person or an evening person? A night owl or a?
I get up early.
You're an early bird. I'm an early bird. People are either early bird or night owl. Turns out that plants are also early birds or night owl. They have that same kind of. It's called the circadian clock. That dictates whether you get up and you're fresh in the morning or you build a house after 9 o'clock. So now they know that plants do this. The scientists are working on helping farmers figure out whether the crops that they're planting are early birds or night owls, and they will regulate which season to plant them so that the plants know that it's going to be later. You got to figure out how to teach plants about daylight saving time and all that. So I'm thinking, okay, well that's kind of cool that plants are either night owls or early bird, which had me thinking, what is a coffee plant? And if a coffee plant is an early bird or wants to be an early bird, does having all that caffeine flowing through its leaves and seeds make it into a night owl anyway? Not exactly funny, but they're just one of those things that keeps me awake at night. I don't need caffeine to do that. So the botanists in England at the Royal Botanical Gardens have picked their top new species for 2020, and the winner in the flower category is the Gastrodia agnacelis, which is an orchid, very beautiful normally flower, This one is from Madagascar, but it's not the most beautiful orchid. In fact, they also named it the world's ugliest orchid. Now, I'm sure you're wondering, how can an orchid be
Can't
ugly?
be.
Take a look at this, Karen. Take a look at this orchid.
Oh,
That looks like the creature that
yeah, it does. It's not very pretty.
from a creature movie. You know, that's what it looks like. It looks like something that lives on the bottom of the ocean. And you think, boy, I'm sure glad that lives on the bottom of the ocean because I'd hate to have it come up and bite me.
Yeah.
So, uh, the, but that's what they named it. So believe it or not, I like looked up orchids because I wanted to learn a little more about orchids. There are only two plant species. There's only one other plant species that is more prevalent around the world than orchids. There's like 28,000 different kinds of orchids around the world. They grow everywhere.
Really?
Really shocked me because if there's so many of them, why are they so expensive? But that has to do more with the breeding and people making different colors and different fragrances. They're not always used just for floral arrangements. Believe it or not, there are people who eat orchid plants. Think about that.
Lions.
Yeah, they're used for perfume. But in Australia, the Aborigines would eat the roots or the tubers, the part underneath that of orchid plants down there. They would boil them and eat them like potatoes, or they grind them up. In Turkey, they take the tuber without boiling it and they grind it into a paste and a powder, and they make a drink out of it. And the drink is called salep, S-A-L-E-P, salep. Now, if you don't know Turkish, I'm going to translate for you. Salep means fox testicles.
Oh,
Because the tubers look like fox testicles. So, my question to you, Karen, is this. Why would someone grind up the root of an orchid that looks like fox testicles, mix it in hot water, and
who
drink
knows it looks like a fox testicle?
Who gets, well, that's a different question. Who gets close enough to a fox, to the rear end of a fox,
Yeah.
to tell what their testicles look like? That's a different problem entirely. But why would they drink this stuff? Fox testicles. They think it's an aphrodisiac, of course.
Of course. Yeah, well, okay.
Anything that looks like testicles eventually becomes something that men use as an aphrodisiac. You know, first, here's another question for you, Karen. Why don't women do this kind of stuff?
We're smarter.
Okay, I'm sorry I asked that question. We'll edit this out later. Okay, one more food story, and I know you're waiting for this one.
Yes, I am.
McDonald's in China is offering a Spam burger with crumbled Oreos on top. And I posted this on Facebook, and people didn't believe it was real. It is truly a real sandwich. That is an actual McDonald's ad.
And it was on ABC News as well.
No kidding, was it? Okay, see, they stole that story from us, Karen, and What in the World. They tried to beat us to the punch. How on a sesame seed bun. So you know it's McDonald's. It's on a sesame seed bun. It has a little M in the corner. Who comes up with this idea? I think what happened was it was an icy day in China, and there's a Spam truck coming in one direction. There's an Oreo truck coming in the other direction. They hit an icy patch. They collide. They tip over. It gets all mixed up on the ground.
No.
It happens to be right across the street from a McDonald's. The people come rushing out. They make sure the drivers are okay. Then they start cleaning it up. And as they're cleaning it up, they look down and they say, this doesn't look half bad. They scoop it up while nobody's looking, scoop it into a bag. Next thing you know, this happens.
Oh.
So would you eat that, Karen?
No.
No, I don't. Now I'll eat anything. So I would definitely try it. I don't think I would like it, but I would try it. That, Karen, is not the weirdest thing McDonald's has ever served in one of its restaurants. You would think it was. Here comes a few more. I don't have pictures, so don't worry. Pineapple and coconut loaf. And that's not a dessert. That's a meal. Austria. They sell that in Austria. The McCurry pan, not the basketball player. That would be Steph Curry. That's right. This is India. A curried vegetable pie. The McCurry pan. In Japan and Russia, McDonald's offers the McShrimp burger. Now that doesn't sound too bad, a McShrimp burger. I've seen recipes for grinding up shrimp and making it a burger. In China, the mashed potato burger. Now apparently they take the mashed potatoes, they fry them, and then they have this special package, of course, like McDonald's, special. It's called the Manly Man meal. If you order the Manly Man meal, you get the mashed potato burger on a bun, served with bacon, lettuce, and more mashed potatoes on top. And then the sesame seed bun on the outside. Yeah, that doesn't sound good to you?
No,
No? Don't like mashed potatoes?
No.
What if they were sweet potato mashed potatoes?
No.
Even worse. Okay, Italy. Spinach and Parmesan McNuggets.
It doesn't sound good.
Maybe. Okay. Singapore, the McRice burger. This is not what you think. It's a real hamburger, but instead of buns, they form sticky rice into patties, and then they put the burger in between the sticky rice. So I've had sticky rice balls. Those are pretty good. That doesn't sound too bad. Yeah. And the McNern burger. This is in Germany. This is 3 pieces of bratwurst in between a bun with mustard and onions on it. Now that sounds good. I'd probably live at McDonald's if they served that. So and McNern is some soccer player. They named it after some soccer player. So anyway, so that ends the food portion of our show this week. How are we doing on time? It looks like John is not going to make it back from what I can see from his messages here. He's still trying, so we'll see what happens there. So this isn't a sport, but it could be. And this is a game. You probably played this with one of your kids, Karen. Jenga. Have you heard of that? Jenga?
Yeah, that's where you put those pieces together and you build like a tower.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you pull pieces out.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay, I think everybody knows what Jenga is. All right. Well, there's this guy in, I think he's in Japan. He calls himself Kelvin the Manga Man. I don't know why he calls it manga, but he claims that he set a new world record for Jenga block stacking. 1,002 pieces stacked, but not just any old stack. For one thing, he stacked them in a spiral. For another thing, they were all stacked upon a single Jenga block.
Whoa.
That's impossible, you may say.
It sounds impossible.
Here it is. Look at that.
Wow. I saw that, and that's
It
just
looks like Euro meat, doesn't it? When you go to buy a Euro loaf. Yeah, here, you see, there's the number. Yeah. 1,002 over 1.
Wow.
Yeah.
Neato.
So I watched the video. You can if you Google Jenga guy. Oh, what happened to there he goes. He after he's all done, he blows on it and it falls over. I thought that I guess if you're going to spend all that time doing it, you have every right to do it if you want. He set a second record, this guy, for the most number of times saying to the door behind him, I'm not doing anything, Mom. No. Because, I mean, who has that kind of time other than a single guy with no dates?
Right.
So I can remember playing Jenga with my nieces and nephews. It's an interesting game. Now on the box, if you buy one, it says that the world record, their recognized world record for the tallest stack of Jengas is 40 2/3 levels. each block is a level, which is a half an
Okay.
inch.
Yeah.
So 40 levels would be 20 inches. Now that's not that tall to me. Um, it was built in 1985 with a Jenga box, a Jenga game built by the originator, the inventor of Jenga. Now I thought, it's blocks, right?
Right.
It must have been around since prehistoric times. It was invented in the 1970s, in the late 1970s, by a lady by the name of Leslie Scott, whose family lived in Ghana. They moved there for business. Her father was down there for business. So she was raised in Ghana. They lived near a lumber mill, and they got these blocks for free from the lumber mill. So so typical dad. Oh yeah, well you don't need. Don't ask Santa for gifts.
Right.
Look at these cool blocks. So she played with these blocks is so much that she had invented this game, and in 1983 took it to a game convention and actually sold the idea, and that's how we got Jenga blocks. And yeah, you stack them up, and you have to pull one out,
Right.
and you put it on top, and you keep pulling them out and putting them on top until it falls over. I had an uncle who used to do that. He just fell over, though. That's another story. So that's the Jenga block for you. I did more than you ever wanted to know about Jengas.
Hey.
So now I mentioned at the beginning that we don't like to talk about politics, but two politicians were in the news this week, not from the United States, that I felt were worthy of what in the world coverage.
Okay.
So, the first one comes from Brazil. The Brazilian president, Jair Bolsonaro is his name. He warned the citizens of Brazil that if they got the coronavirus vaccine, his government would not be responsible if it turned them into crocodiles.
Excuse me. Why would it turn them into crocodiles?
Why would it turn that? Very good question.
Golly.
Not only that, he said for women, he would not be responsible if the vaccine caused women to grow beards. Now, wouldn't there be a chance that I think we've got John back here?
Hey, Paul, I am back for some reason.
Yeah, he's back. John DiNallo with What in the World of Sports. Hi, John. Welcome back.
Yeah, thanks, Paul. Hi, Karen.
We were just talking about something that you can probably relate to. The president of Brazil told his citizens that if they got the coronavirus vaccine, he would not be responsible if it turned them into crocodiles. Now, I know you're afraid of crocodiles. I know that. So you would definitely not want to turn into a crocodile. Now, I know some strange people. And I had a friend of mine, I told this story to him, and he said, well, what about, would it turn reptilians into humans?
Ooh.
Now, there's something to think about. But what about, he also said that he wouldn't be responsible if women grew beards. So what happens if you got the second dose and you're a woman and you grew a beard and you turned into a crocodile?
A lot of men would be very happy.
Now there's an answer I didn't expect. I think the person might be happy because she could quit her job and go on the road and just go on, do exhibitions and collect money and become rich and famous as the bearded crocodile lady.
Yeah.
And then that president would change his tune because now there's all that tax money he could be collecting. Except, oh no, I'm not responsible. Okay, then you don't get any of that tax money from the reptilian or the bearded lady.
That's the price he has to pay, Paul. That's the price he has to pay.
That's why we have John DiNallo on this show, and that's why we miss him when he's not here.
I missed you guys. It was kind of strange. Something's acting up again with my computer here, but I'm okay now. It looks like I'm back. So.
All right, good. Okay, good. Well, you're just in time because we're about to run out of weird stories, and it's time. That means it's time for you. So,
So to speak. So to speak.
wait a minute.
Oh,
So let me do the second guy. So the second politician is from Croatia. So now this guy is the head of the Croatian Committee for Human Rights. Very important job. So he is meeting with the president of Croatia, who is the first woman to hold that position in Croatia. So they're busy passing some award back and forth. And I'm just going to show you the picture of what happened. There's 3 panels. So you move from right to left and you watch the guy and you see what happens to him as he's getting the award. Can you see that?
Oh, yes, I do.
His pants fell down.
Yep.
oh my gosh.
Yeah. So then at the very end, he picks his pants up again, and the president she lowers the sign or whatever it is that they're holding so nobody sees him, like they haven't seen him already. How,
Oh, Lord.
yeah, this would. How did this happen? I mean, how do your pants fall down? Without not being in a sitcom or anything. I mean, this is a responsible person. I think he was tucking he was sucking his stomach in to look good, especially with this very, very attractive presidential woman. Sucks his pants, his stomach in, and the pants fall down. Then, worst part, besides all that, he finds out she's married afterwards. So, I go through all that for nothing. For nothing.
Sometimes life is unfair.
Life is unfair. The good news, John, is if you're ever in Croatia, your rights are protected. If you do drop trow in public, that guy's not in jail. You wouldn't go to jail either. So,
well, precedent has been set. The precedent has been set, I guess.
There you go. Okay, so I wanted to do a Christmas story here. So this is John. You've never heard a Christmas story like this one. I already mentioned it to Karen. Everything you know about Christmas is wrong, according to this religion out of England. And everybody's talking about the Star of Bethlehem. Even if you're not a Christian celebrating Christmas, Jupiter and Saturn are merging in the sky, and it's this huge bright object on December 21st. So people are saying, oh, it's just like the Christmas story. It's the star that the wise men followed. While other people are saying, no, it's Jupiter and Saturn. Doesn't it look cool? Not this guy, by the way. Okay, so this guy, he's the head of a religion. They're called the Alligators Society. He says, A, Christmas is not in December, it's actually in March. B, the Star of Bethlehem, the original one, is not a star, not Jupiter and Saturn. It's an alien spaceship. And C, Jesus was on the spaceship on his way to Bethlehem from the planet Venus. Oh no, John! I thought that was John's reaction.
Oh my God, he's gone again.
He's offended. I'm sorry, John. I didn't mean to offend you. Hard to believe. So this religion, the Alligators Society, began in 1954. Guy by the name of George King. He claims he got this voice in his head. Not a good sign. He gets his voice in his head telling him that he's about to become the voice of interplanetary parliament. The next day, a Swami, Indian religious guy, breaks into his apartment, but he can't figure out how, and designates him as this interplanetary spokesperson. Teaches him meditation, and that's how he learns to this weird communications, telepathic communication. And then he starts the society and teaches other people to telepathically communicate with aliens. Okay, so you got that so far, Karen?
Oh, I got it.
So this is a combination religion. It's a combination of New Age stuff, UFOs, and other religions. Okay, so now he claims that this story is actually based on the Bible. That this is a spokesperson for. It's not the King guy. It's I forget what his name is. Anyways, their spokesperson, Johnson. Richard Lawrence is his name. So Richard Lawrence says in this interview that the Star of Bethlehem was witnessed by 3 wise men. So that makes them reliable witnesses because they're
Oh,
wise
yeah.
men.
They're wise. Yes.
There you go. See, it's in the Bible.
Yeah. Yep.
So he said, makes them credible. It guided them to a specific place, but it couldn't be a star because it moved. But it moved. Its stars don't move. It couldn't be a meteorite because it didn't hover. So it moved and then it hovered. So obviously, if it moves and it hovers, it's an alien spaceship. Then he says that he combines this other thing about Jesus coming from Venus. I don't know where he got that idea. But the witnesses, saw the spaceship. And then he says it was on March 15th, and he claims this also comes from the Bible because the Bible says that shepherds were there watching their flocks at night. And he says, what shepherd goes out in the middle of December with their sheep on a hill and goes wandering off and finds this manger? He says that never happened. Okay, it happened in March. That's when the shepherds take their baby, their lambs and their sheep out and start grazing. So, and then he throws in some paganism. He says that a lot of religions, and this is true, celebrate the spring equinox. When you go from winter to spring, plants start coming up, animals start having babies, and when the early leaders of the Christian church wanted to get more non-Christians into the faith, they took these pagan celebrations and they mixed them up with Christian teaching, and you got kind of a mishmash. So that's what he said. I don't know. And then he throws in the ancient astronaut theory. So the ancient astronaut theory is that all these things that happened in the Bible, like the burning bush or the flaming chariot, those were actually UFOs that the people didn't have enough knowledge or scientific experience to explain as something other than, oh, that's a flaming chariot. It was the exhaust from a UFO. That's what he's saying. So all that said and done, this is an actual religion, the Altharius Society. It's a worldwide religion, although it's most of the members are in England, LA, go figure, California, New Zealand, a couple big hot spots for it. So I was thinking, if you believe that Jesus came from Venus and is an alien, what kind of Christmas carols would you sing? So the only one I could come up with was E.T. in the manger.
Oh, okay.
That might work. E.T. in the manger, would you? Anyway, so now, this all sounds, and I don't mean to make fun of the religion. If you believe that, that's great. I'm Catholic. We have some pretty weird things that we believe in. So, but believe it or not, from NASA comes a picture of an angel on Mars, just in time for Christmas.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah.
Oh.
This was taken by one of the satellites orbiting Mars. And there on the ground, looks like a giant snow angel, except there's no snow on Mars. So it's in the Martian dirt or sand, somewhere near the South Pole. And, there's a name for the idea that you see recognizable shapes in like tortillas or grease stains on the ground or sand on Mars.
Yeah, exactly.
But NASA, they got to do something. So so they say that it was a winged angel, which if it really was an angel and Martians are celebrating Christmas, that means we have to set aside space on our future missions to store presents.
Yeah.
So you want to exchange. I don't know what to get for a Martian who has everything. Maybe Jesus knows.
Maybe. Yep.
Have you been to Mars? I don't want to be sacrilegious here during the Christmas season. This is a fun show. We're just joking.
Exactly.
We're just joking. All right. So I don't think John's going to make it back. So we'll save his sports story for next week.
Okay.
I'll give you a hint. It's a winter sport that many people thought was in the Olympics, but it actually wasn't. But yet, millions of people have seen it performed on television. There's my hint. So it's a winter
Okay.
sport, has to do with skating. Millions of people have seen it. They assumed it was in the Olympics. It's never been in it. Okay, so we looked at the guy in Croatia. Oh, so everybody's looking for stuff to do during the pandemic. In Australia, it's now summertime. Okay, so the researchers are going stir crazy down there. So they came up with another story, proving once again that you can get money to fund any kind of story. University of Sydney, okay, is where they're from. They studied kangaroos, which is what you do when you're in Australia. There's millions and millions of kangaroos all over the place. They found that kangaroos use their gazes to communicate with humans, kind of in the same way that dogs do, or horses. Horses are another animal with very expressive eyes. They say that kangaroos also have very expressive eyes, and when they gaze at you, they're trying to tell you something.
Oh,
Yeah. So, my first thought is, if you're gazing into a kangaroo's eyes, A, you need to get out more. B, maybe you should try online dating. It's rather than kangaroos. I have anything else to say that I just thought that was a very strange.
I'll tell you, somebody the other day told me that, online dating is not what it's all cracked up to be. So maybe gazing in a kangaroo's eyes would be better.
That's not only is that a good idea, but that's a great opening line for a song, maybe about a romantic song about gazing, or a poem. So I was gazing into the roo's eyes when suddenly, to my surprise, it spit on me and kicked me. Then it becomes a country western song. So I hopped away to my pickup truck and I ran that roo down. There's the title. Yes.
Hey, that's it.
There's the title of my country western song. Tune in next week when I find someone to play it.
Okay.
Run that roo down.
For you.
So we'll stick with the holidays for a little while longer here yet. This is another study proving once again that you can get money for anything. This one comes from the University of Sussex in England. Researchers found that sniffing lemons can actually make you feel thinner, and if you feel thinner, eventually, supposedly, you're going to be thinner. Whereas sniffing vanilla makes you feel fatter.
Wow.
So sniffing lemons make you feel thinner. Sniffing vanilla makes you feel fatter. If you're sniffing both of those in the same time and it's in a cookie, you're going to get fatter anyways. It doesn't matter what smell you're focusing on. But I thought that was interesting. I know people drink like lemon juice as a way to, allegedly burn fat. But I never heard that about sniffing. And I wonder if it's you just have to sniff a lemon, cut a lemon open and shove it up your nose, or if like lemon pledge would work, or some other lemon scented stuff.
No.
Yeah, that's something to think about. Maybe we could run a test sometime. We could do our own study.
Some research on this.
What's that?
We could do a research project.
We do a research project. But would we get funding? That's the key, right there.
Sure, of course.
Sure. Of course, yeah. Just need to write it up. Okay, so now here's a study that I can relate to. I think I've mentioned this before, that my degree is in math. I was a math geek up until my early 20s and maybe early 30s. I was a math geek and then I was a computer geek, so those kind of go together. I also like cookies, okay, and this story has both. So mathematicians, and I'm not sure where this study was conducted, but they were trying to solve the packing problem. Now the packing problem has to do with making the optimal use of space. Okay, So how do I have this much space and I have all these odd shaped boxes. How do I pack it so that I get all those odd shaped boxes into that square space, for example? So in this case, they were trying to figure out the optimal way to make cutout cookies out of a sheet of dough, so
Okay.
that you got the maximum number of cookies from the sheet. Turns out it was far more complex and harder to resolve than they assumed it to be. And not only did they have to use a supercomputer to tackle the problem, but they ate an awful lot of cookies. So I'm not sure if the eating cookies drove the research, or if it was just a hard problem. But so it was so hard that the computer solved complex algebraic computations faster than it did the packing problem with odd-shaped cookie cutters. The difference is that you can't eat an algebraic computation when you're done.
Oh, this
Not
is
as much fun. So
Yeah.
that's why I got out. I got tired of algebraic computation.
wasn't filling.
Wasn't filling. That's right. If it didn't smell like lemon, didn't make me feel thinner. Smelled like vanilla. There you go.
Yep.
Okay, so we got one more story here on from outer space. There's a company by the name of Space Perspective. I've done stories about like Elon Musk and SpaceX,
Right.
the private company that's launching into space. There's other companies like that. What's his name? Jeff Bezos from Google, Amazon.
Yep.
He has a company. The guy that founded Virgin Airlines, he has a rocket company. Well, there's this company, Space Perspective. It wants to take people into space, but not on rockets. They want to use balloons. So they've developed this capsule. Big capsule, seats 8 people, that hangs under a balloon, and the balloon goes up 62 miles, which is the designated edge of space. So you can see the curvature of the Earth and all that good stuff. So they call it a high performance balloon and a pressurized capsule called Spaceship Neptune. And they announced this week that it will be available and ready in 2021. So that's next year. That's a week and a half away. And they will be able to take passengers up into the stratosphere on or before 2024. So they're almost there. Now, I know you want to know how much it costs. Each trip will cost $125,000 per ticket. More if you want the balloon to say happy birthday. As you
Oh,
$125,000. That's not too bad.
this is
I
a drop
guess.
in the bucket.
For going into space. Yeah, I know you had to spend millions to go to the International Space Station. Plus, you had to get into shape and pass tests. This you just shove into it. They just open the door, shove you in, blow up the balloon, say bye, and hope that somebody took a pea shooter or something to start popping the balloon. Once they get to the, okay, now what do we do? We're there. Hey.
Yeah, how does it come back down?
They turn off the burner. I don't. they pull a rope and it pops a hole. I really don't know, Karen.
Okay, I'm not going up in it. No.
See, this was the last story, so I didn't get to the end. So anyway, since it's the last story, that means that we have arrived at Bluff the co-host.
Yeah, and
How
I'm
about that? So yeah, I'll play for John. That's what you get. So as you know, Bluff the co-host, I have 3 stories, very similar to the ones that we have been talking about all afternoon, except in this case, they may be true, they may be a bluff, and it's up to you, Karen, or anyone playing at home, listening, to decide whether it's a real story or a bluff. So are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, hand on the buzzer. Story number 1. Anyone who has ever driven behind a car or a truck with an exhaust problem knows how bad burning gasoline can smell. It's worse if it's a diesel truck you're behind. Even worse than that if it's one of those biodiesel trucks that runs on French fry oil. Well, it's about to get even worse in California, where the government has given permission to utility companies to switch from natural gas to gas made from cow manure. Dairy farms with huge lagoons of cow manure will now be able to pipe it directly to the local gas company, which will burn the stuff and deliver it back to California residents. Now, if you think Californians are stuck up environmentalist snobs, you can take comfort in the fact that gas leaks there will now smell like bovine bowel movements.
Oh.
Okay, so the government of California, in the instrument of to achieve environmentalism, in the name of environmentalism, is allowing the utility companies to burn cow manure instead of natural gas. And so when your gas leaks, it smells like cow manure.
Well, number one, I don't think it's going to smell like cow manure because of the process of burning it.
Oh, you
No.
studied this.
Because gas comes out clear.
Yeah.
And just for the heck of it, I'm going to say it's true.
You're going to say it's true.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, except for the stinky part is true. That's right.
It
They
just
are.
sounds like something they would do. Yeah.
California thing. Yeah. Apparently there's a lot of dairy farms in California. This would be good for Pennsylvania also, by the way, which has a lot of dairy farms. And yeah, that's what they're going to do. They're just going to pump the stuff to the local utility, burn it up. I would guess that the smell around the utility company where they're burning the stuff might smell like manure.
Well, it might.
It might, yeah.
Like the old water plant that used to be down like south of Peninsula.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't smell anymore, but it used to. And we used to get that smell up when we lived in Peninsula. Yeah. Yeah.
We lived in Columbus and we lived very near a brewery. And you would think, especially even if you don't like beer, it can't smell that bad. Oh, it was awful. It was the absolute worst smell.
Huh.
Okay, so let's move on. Very good. So John said it was a bluff. So John was wrong. I forgot to ask John. So and he left me his answers here.
Yeah.
Okay, so sorry, John. So Karen, you're ahead 1-0. Story number 2. In what has to be the feel-good story of the Christmas season, if not the entire year of 2020, a man in Venice, Florida, was taking his daily exercise walk around a neighborhood pond when he moved to avoid stepping in a hole and instead stepped on a storm grate, which shifted just enough that his foot got stuck and he couldn't pull it out. While one other walker ran to get to him some help, the man looked in horror as the 12-foot alligator that lives in the pond came splashing out of the water and charged towards him. He thought he was going to lose his leg when that gator put his mouth around it, but instead his pants got caught in the gator's teeth, and as it tried to pull free, it pulled his leg hard enough to free it from the grate. The man was able to pull off his pants and run away just as the police arrived to see the gator slide back into the pond with the pants in its jaws. Was it a lucky break, or did the gator intend to free the man? Only Santa knows for sure.
I'm sure Santa knows the answer to this one.
So the story from Florida, home of strange stories, about the man who gets his foot caught in a sewer grate, gets attacked by an alligator who, instead of chopping his leg off, chops his pants off and saves his life.
So the question I have to ask myself, do they have alligators or crocodiles in Florida?
Alligators, right?
I don't know. Do they have
Oh, alligators. Yeah. Did I say?
Okay.
Yeah,
They
it
do.
is. It's an alligator. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, but I'm not sure they have alligators in Florida. I know they have crocodiles.
No,
Anyway,
they have alligators.
never mind.
Well, oh, wait. Okay. Let's get all bluffing aside. They have alligators in Florida.
Okay.
That's a true.
Okay,
That part is true so
But
far, Karen.
I'm going to say this one is a bluff.
Oh, was that your answer?
Yeah, bluff.
Oh, you say it's a bluff. Okay. Let's see what John says. It's true. You know what that means, Karen? You were right. It's a bluff.
Yay! Poor
That's 2 in a row.
John.
That's 2
Poor
to poor John. Oh boy, 2-0. John, I'm sorry, but you need to get your computer fixed, your internet. Lesson learned. Okay, story number 3. A man in Chicago made the mistake of asking his father what he should get tattooed on his arm. And his father made the mistake of telling him that only people with Polish sausage for brains get tattoos. So the man went to a tattoo parlor and had only people with Polish sausage for brains get tattooed on his arm, and Love Dad tattooed underneath it. He took it home. His father was so angry, he went with him to the tattoo parlor and threatened to sue unless the same artist tattooed only tattoo artist with Polish sausage for brains draw stupid tattoos, and made the artist sign his real name to it. The police were eventually called when the man and the shop owner got into an argument, and the owner pulled down his own pants and began tattooing "Kiss My Ass" and the man's name on his own butt.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
All of them received fines for disturbing the peace, and the story appeared in the local police blotter under the heading, "Just Another Day in Chicago."
This is so stupid. It has to be true.
one of those. So I can't even go through the whole roadmap again of all this tattooing and not tattooing, and so you say it's so stupid it has to be true. A rule that generally works in Bluff the co-host, doesn't it?
Yes.
John said it was a bluff. This time John was right.
We tied. Hey.
Which means you were wrong.
Yeah.
Because that was a bluff.
Okay. Well, we tied.
Sure sounds like Chicago, though, doesn't it?
Well, it was so dumb that, hey, but yeah.
There you go. All right. So just right on time. We've come to the end of the Christmas edition of What in the World. I'm Paul Seaburn. We're here with our producer and co-host Karen Hale. NewClevelandRadio.net. Please come back again. Please watch us on YouTube. Thank you for tuning in, whether you're live or in the future. We're here every week. Great stories, real news, sometimes strange, always funny.
Absolutely.
And since we won't be here with you again until after the holidays, I want to say Merry Christmas or Merry whatever holiday you are celebrating. And please do celebrate something, but do it responsibly. Wear a mask, keep your distance, all that good stuff. We want you to stick with us into the new year.
That's right. Well, again, thank you very much. I'm glad you joined us today, Santa. We needed a little bit of this. And I just want you to know, we just got a Merry Christmas from sunny Houston.
Oh, from sunny Houston. I know that guy.
So thank
sunny
you.
Houston, country western singer.